Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I want to talk to you about racial separation in jails and prison and how it applies to free society. So, in my experience, in every single jail or prison that I've been in, there has always been a separation among races. The whites, the Spanish, and the blacks are typically the main three. Even when there are the minority races there, like Asians, for example, Arabs, Africans, not black Americans, they also would congregate together, always. And this applied to regular day-to-day activity. This applied to them working out together, them eating together in the mess. Everybody always just went with their own kind. And a lot of places, actually, not in the state that I live, California, for example, I know that the administration actually allows for this and not encourages it, but lets it be because they understand that to try to force integration of the races would create much more problems than not. So in New Jersey, where I am, there are no rules against it. Typically, they're not going to allow you to be completely segregated. So there's not going to be one unit that's going to be all white guys and another for all black guys. It doesn't work that way. Everyone just gets mixed in. They are separated by gangs, though. So if there are Bloods in one unit, they're not going to put a Crip in that unit so he gets eaten up in there. They separate them by gangs, typically. Sometimes administration is fucked up and intentionally throws people in the mix where they shouldn't be, just to punish people or just for their own sick entertainment purposes. I don't know why, but that does happen also. So my view on separation of races is that it is the most natural tendency to have. In free life, in prisons, people always want to congregate among others who look the most like them, who share the same values, who are of the same origin, who speak the same language. It's a natural thing for this to happen. People generally feel safer among their own than, mixed up with everybody else. In jail and prisons, they feel like, sticking to my own kind would allow me the best opportunity to, number one, be safe, and number two, to have somebody possibly back me up if I have some problems in here. And in free society, the opposite is true as far as it being allowed. In free society, they force integration of the races. They force, even in school districts, they force certain minorities to bus to other districts to balance out the difference of the race, the disparity in race. And in my opinion, that's not a good thing. It doesn't make any sense to. There are laws in place, even with housing, for example, in the United States, where they try to just make sure everything is balanced between blacks and whites and Hispanics. They also do this in employment settings, where it's basically illegal for anyone to discriminate against another person because of their race. That part of it I can understand. But at the same time, I feel like the government should just allow people to do what the fuck they want. If white people want to live amongst themselves, fine. No need to force anybody else there. Black people, Hispanic people, likewise. Let people live amongst those that they are more comfortable with rather than trying to force this diversity. It's not a good thing. I've heard it said often that the diversity in itself is what gives us our strength. I don't agree with that. Because using those jails and prisons as an example, guys, that's the best social experiment that I can think of, where everybody in there starts off with nothing. We're all equals. And what happens naturally in all of these places is that people separate themselves by race. That's how it goes. It's a natural instinct. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I personally got along with people of all races. I had friends that were everything, basically, in there. And I'm okay with that. But that's not to say that everyone else shared my same experience. For the white guys in particular, they are usually the minority in these places. And it makes sense for them to congregate amongst their own. It makes a lot of sense. It does not make sense for the administration to try to force diversity. and balance things out by picking one guy out and putting him here and another to replace him. It does not make sense. So the point of this video is that I think separation among race is a natural thing. I don't think it should be illegal for people to mix if they want to, but I never think it should be forced. I think the government has it wrong here. All right? Some people will choose to live in a diverse community, others will choose not. But either way, we as Americans should have the freedom to live amongst whoever we want in whatever way we want, as long as we're not hurting anybody else. So I'm curious to your guys' thoughts on this. Please share comments, and thank you again. I'll talk to you next time.